Hello, friendly neighborhood nerds. If you want to hear interviews from industry pros, get first looks, and have access to endless comic content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell!
What up, friendly neighborhood nerds? This is Judah Rad. I'm joined by Robo, Son of Strange, and the excessively violent Respawn. Today we have a special guest. He's a journalist for comicbook.com and has interviewed people like Kevin Smith and Jim Starlin, which, man, I had like a 15-minute conversation with him and Ron Lim once, and it's like one of my best memories ever. But anyway, currently he's writing TSHOW for Scout Comics, with the first issue dropping on December 2nd. This is your last chance to order it is October 18th. Adam Barnhardt, welcome to the show. How's it going?
It's going amazing. Thank you. Thank you. I will say Jim was a bucket list interview, and I also got 15 minutes, and it wasn't near enough time. You know,
He's
like,
such a nice guy.
He is. I could
What do you
talk to
do with
this
15
man.
minutes? Like, how do you whittle it down?
I don't know. That's a
Signed by
very
Silver
good
Surfer
question.
Homecoming.
Right, pretty much. It's like, hey, I like your stuff. Thank you so much, and just over and over, over again.
I told him my favorite character of his was Pip the Troll, and that led to a pretty fun conversation. So
Yeah, he loves Pip. That's for sure. I know. That's the main character we talked about. I tried getting him to talk about everything else, but it always reverted back.
always
to
comes
Pip.
back to Pip.
Right. I'm like, how about Drax? He's like, let's talk to Pip a little bit. I'm like, all right, but what about Adam Warlock? Like, nah, let's talk Pip.
So, Drunk Carnies, superpowers. This is pretty fun. I read your first issue, and it was I liked it. It was weird, but I like weird, and it was fun and action packed. This is like an Old Man Logan type future almost, in the sense that like all the heroes have been defeated. So, issue 1, super action packed. Can you kind of tell our audience why they should order this title?
So my bank account increases.
That's right.
No.
That's most important.
It's you described it perfectly. It's very much a Old Man Logan type book. You know, it is set on Earth, an alternate Earth where there used to be heroes, and there's no longer as many heroes. There was once hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of heroes, and the heroes lost, and now there's just a few. And as you can see from the cover of number 1, our main protagonist, Rich McCoy, he takes it super, super, super hard, harder than most. And he's a drunkard, an alcoholic, and he leads the Magnificent McCoys, which is the last 5, 6 or so powered people on Earth.
Sounds like the Flying Graysons.
Right. Because, at that point, why not try making $50 a weekend at some low-rate circus, using your powers.
Right.
So that's kind of a shit show in a nutshell.
Awesome.
Okay.
Sorry, I was muted.
Right.
Kind of sounds like where I grew up.
Right.
Where did this idea come from? Because we literally, in the Sticks town that I lived, we had kind of a tent city filled with carnies. If that's a non-PC term, I'm sorry, but where did this idea come from? Like, how?
So I wanted to tell a superhero story, which probably isn't a mindset most indie creators have. You look at these small press publishers, and none of them will even hardly look at superhero titles or cape books or what have you. And the main idea, it all stemmed with Rich McCoy, and the book, his code name or superhero name's Legend. He's our Superman, he's our Sentry, what have you. So it all started with him, and slowly it morphed into the circus, and I always say the circus is kind of the perfect mix of fun and horror. You show up to the circus, and there's the fun music and the smiles and the laughs, but then there's the shoddy rides that are held together with bolts that are 60 years old, and they're shaking, and it can break apart and send you flying across the sky. And then there's the animal in the walkways, or maybe the one speaker is muffled, so instead of the happy cheery music, it has that Halloween spooky vibe.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where the circus came into. I think it's kind of the perfect setup where there's hope, but then there's also fear and terror at the
love
same time, which
Just
very
like
much.
2020.
Yes, exactly. That's the thing. I never anticipated how this year would turn out when I started writing it, and it just so happens that everything's a complete shit show now.
Yeah.
So
Appropriate.
yeah, I that's pretty much it. It started with Rich McCoy, and the circus was added on.
That's cool.
And
How did you
now-
come up with the character designs? Just out of curiosity.
Most of what you see in issue 1 is all Samir somehow. He also does the interior work. And he, especially Legends group, the Legion, he did all of those. And to an extent the McCoys. That all came from him. We do get into some stuff where I tried sketching a little bit, at least design-wise, in issue 2. But again, Samir made that look much, much better.
Nice.
Right.
Yeah. One of my
Cool.
favorites is Macabre.
Macabre,
Macabre.
yep.
Macabre.
Mel.
Mel.
You
Yeah.
can just call her
Yeah.
Mel.
It's one of those questions that I think I've always read it Macabre, just because no one else has to hear me read it.
Macabre.
Yeah, Macabre.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, she's actually definitely one of my favorites. I love that splash towards the end where she's like, she screams what she screams. I don't want to spoil it for anybody. Go pick it up, read it. I did have a question though. It seems like Mel is kind of tied to that with her voodoo powers, with Louisiana Bayou voodoo kind of connection there. And out of curiosity, I was wondering if when you write her and you continue to write her, are you going to be using any kind of like sensitivity writers to make sure you get it right and we do voodoo respectfully and all that?
Right. We already have
Awesome.
some, and we will, because there's much more to be told with her.
Hell yeah.
Now I don't want to
Cool.
spill everything,
That's
of course,
right.
but yeah, we are working with the writers. We are changing up the creative team with the artists and things of that nature for a certain project. I don't know when that will come to light. But to answer your question, yeah, we'll totally. We already have, and we will continue to do so.
That's awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to see more from her.
Cool.
So underneath all the stories and characters, what are some other themes? Like, what are the underlying themes of this story that you're telling? Because we have heard the story of heroes gone bad and all that. What are you telling?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I mean, I kind of compare it to The Boys in the sense that it's a story. It's an adult superhero story.
Sure.
But these heroes, it's not like a sense of Brightburn where the protagonist or the main character is actively bad. They're not bad people. They just lost, and now they make questionable decisions because, quite frankly, they don't really have anything else to live for. And that's kind of where the circus comes in. At least at the bare minimum, they try pleasing other people. Even though they can't please themselves. At least Rich McCoy can't. I'm not sure, maybe it has a lot to do with inner demons and personal demons. Obviously, in the story, everything becomes physical, but it's kind of battling your own personal anxieties and your own problems, because I think that's what most of us face, especially with someone with anxiety and social anxiety. Most days it's rough just to go out there or exist or grocery shop or what have you,
Yeah.
So that's kind of the whole crux about it. I wanted to stick away from, bad Superman or bad heroes.
Right.
all
It's been
that
done.
stuff, right. And just make them as humanly possible, and as, we bring up 2020, as this year's showing us most, most stories don't end up happy. There's not necessarily maybe not the happy ending, but at least the beginning and middle aren't necessarily happy. Everything in life's not a win.
That makes sense.
And that's even superhero or not. You're not going to win every fight you go up against, and we can get into that. I was going to bring up something else that I totally forgot. But yeah, hopefully that answered your question a little
For
bit.
sure.
Yeah.
This is all pre-recorded,
definitely.
so if you come up with it later, Just let me know. You
Right.
say it, and I'll just cut it right into there.
Right.
Yeah. Take out that last cough that I made too, because that was embarrassing.
I'm actually gonna zoom in on you, and I'm gonna
Zoom in
raise
on
the
you.
volume.
Enhance.
So, hey, let's talk about your team for a second. You mentioned him a moment ago. You got Samir Sameo. Am I pronouncing that right?
I say Samau, and that's how he told me.
Samir Samao.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I'm gonna butcher this one too, but let me try it. Warnia K Sahadua.
That's how I say it.
Okay, cool. And Warnia does the colors. So
Yep.
these panels and layouts, one thing I noticed while reading this, very close quarters. It's almost looks almost like it's deliberately a little claustrophobic. Like we're right in these people's faces, we're right in the action, and it definitely does convey a sense of movement and action and boom, boom, things happening. You do have one splash page in this first issue with the ringleader, and then introducing Encore, Smoke, Frigid Brigid, and Morph. And then there's like tigers and shit. And it's cool. I like this splash page. And maybe we'll throw it up post production so everyone can see. How did you assemble this team, and what has this collaboration process been like so far?
The wonders of social media. Samir, I posted a help wanted type ad in a Facebook group, and he was one of the first to submit. And just from seeing his artwork and portfolio, I'm like, man, this is perfect. This is exactly what I imagined our protagonist being, a rich looking like. And we are off to the races from there. And Warnie, I found on another platform. I'm not sure if she came through Instagram or Twitter, but I was searching a hashtag or something. And I had saw she at the time she had done some vault covers. And her range is incredible. She gets into some really funky stuff. It progressively as the proverbial shit hits the fan here, you'll see where it branches off. It's not a clear. She doesn't like sepia tone the throwbacks or anything like that, right? But there is a distinction as stuff continually gets worse. It gets super grounded and much darker. And I found her through social media. And then Justin, Letter Squids is what he goes by. I found him on Twitter as well for the letters.
Okay.
I can't remember where, just another hashtag search or someone retweeted it or something like that. And he takes it another step further. For the collaborative process, early on when we did the initial like pitch packet, I had several notes for Samir, but since then I think just one or two notes throughout 3 issues, because we hit the stride where I understood where he worked probably about right around 6 pages in, and kind of tweaked the scripts to that, and it was off to the races. I've never provided a note to Warnie, I don't think, and she's becoming massive now. She's doing Dryfoot for Mad Cave, I think.
Wow.
And has a couple of other things in the works, so hopefully she comes back. And then Justin, I feel bad for Justin because I change everything with him all the time. You write one line of dialogue at the beginning, and then by the time line art's done and by the time colors are in, you're like, I'm not sure if I like that line or not, so you tweak it a little bit. They're great though. They're great. If any creators watch this, I encourage you to hire any of them. I just asked it come after my projects, please.
There you go.
But yeah, they're great, and they're totally open to the collaborative process, and especially Andrea, our editor with Scout. He's been amazing. He's provided so many good notes, and makes my writing at least consumable, I guess,
Yeah.
So there's that.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
That's awesome.
This is your first foray into comic publishing. What has that been like so far?
Amazing. I don't believe it. This is my first published work. I have messed around with short stories, and I did this one shot that's absolutely putrid, going back and reading it a couple of years ago. It's been amazing. We got this pitch together, and it was just kind of a hope and a prayer, and we pitched it to Scout, and a few months later we were on board. It's a whirlwind. I've learned comics take forever to make. I'm not sure if you knew that.
So
But
we've
man,
We've heard
comics,
rumors.
right? The rumors are true because comics take forever.
Who would have thought a project with like a penciler, an inker, a colorist, a writer, an editor takes time to collaborate?
Right.
Yeah, you know, sharing files back and forth. There's even with the cloud, it takes a while to even upload. You know, so it's been a whirlwind, and I can't believe it's actually coming out in 2 months, which is
Yeah.
under 2 months now.
Congratulations.
So thank you. From beginning to end, it's been just over a year for the development process. So
How many
Yeah, it's
how
been
many
great.
books do you have planned for
Nice.
this?
how do I have? What'd you say?
How many books do you have planned for this?
That's $1 million question. So on my wall, if I wish I could turn my webcam around, but I have my note card layout on my wall. I wish you didn't use planned because I have a whole crap ton planned.
Well, okay, then we'll change it to ready. Like
Ready?
Here's
Ready.
here's what we're gonna publish for sure.
Shit Show Volume 1, The Magnificent McCoys is 3 issues long.
There you go.
It is a 3-issue micro series. I will say this because I've said it before. The main storyline, I have plans about 15 to 16 issues. And then several outside of that in terms of spin-offs or short stories or one-shots or we just announced our New York Comic Con exclusive and we shoved a one-shot into there, a short story. It's called Killer Bears.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if the Care Bears were made by Rob Liefeld with the pockets and
Wow.
the
Nice.
guns and such. So
Tons
we
of
have
pouches.
yes. So we have tons of short stories planned. Eventually, I'm going to launch a Kickstarter probably to do like a Shit Show Presents or like a Tales to Astonish type deal where it's an anthology that helps expand the universe, that introduces concepts and characters and one shots and what else. But the main story I do have planned is 15 issues, give or take, and we'll see if the readership's there to afford it.
That's awesome. So
Cool.
you brought up Scout. So this next question might be a little bit controversial. But there's been some darts thrown at Scout before with regard to their in their mission statement. They talk about creating IPs that go directly to TV, movies, things like that. I personally don't see a problem with that. But so two-part question is, what drew you to Scout in the first place? And do you have plans for any pitches for this series to go to TV or movies?
What drew me to Scout is that they were accepting submissions.
There you go.
I had read some of their properties before, like The Electric Black was one of my favorite indie books even beforehand. You know, I loved The Electric Black. I loved Black Hammer. That's not Scout. Just that type of vibes, you know. And at the time I submitted it, Scout flat out said on their page that they discourage superhero books. So I don't know why I was attracted to them. I submitted to them and one other publisher. Unfortunately enough, Scout said yes. In terms of film and TV, and I wrote the comic book because I wanted to write the comic book, but at the same time, you know, who wouldn't want to see their IP adapted for
100%.
Netflix or a movie
That's right.
or what have you? You know, you ask every
course.
creator, and they're going to want to see a Shit Show movie, or they're going to want to see a Shadow Man movie, or Quantum and Woody movie, or
Ooh, you're talking my language.
Youngblood, or whatever. I'm trying to think. Black Hammer. There we
That's
go.
right.
Black Hammer. I know I want to see a Black Hammer movie,
That's right.
so I'm sure Jeff wants to see a Black Hammer movie.
Yes.
I want to see a Quantum and Woody Adult Swim show.
Yes, I would
Kinda
love
like
that very much. Robot Chicken-esque. I would.
Yeah.
I'd love that so much. So yeah, I mean, I wrote a comic because I felt it would do decent as a comic, but at the same time, I'm not going to say, this is only ever going to be a comic book, because if Steven Spielberg throws $5 million in my mailbox, I'm going to be like, hell yeah, Steve.
Your artistic integrity is going to say, no, I don't want that. I'm here to write. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes, no, my artistic integrity and my Twitter profile will say it's strictly for comics. But I mean, yeah, I would love to write screenplays someday.
Do you have a dream production cast if Shit Show was to be adapted?
Ooh, yeah.
Do you have like a cast in mind or a director in mind, or
on the spot?
I've thought about it some, and that's what's difficult, because Volume 1 does follow the 2 timelines, right? It follows now and a little bit previous. I think we could say 10 years, because I think that's in the pages that have been released. So it's 10, 15 years in the past as well. Which a
lot of TV shows seem to be doing today, right? They're non-linear narratives. Yep.
It doesn't feel like much, but that decade has not been kind to Rich McCoy, right? So it's finding someone who can do the older look and the young look. One name that pops out in the front of my mind is probably Tom Hopper from Umbrella Academy. But then again, I'm not sure what he would look like in a long hair wig, or drunkard.
That's cool.
But I fan cast him for everything. I also want him to be Rich Rider really bad.
That'd be great.
Very talented.
So that's kind of it. You look at the older ones, and there's like the Ron Perlmans of the world. I mean, who wouldn't want Ron Perlman to play their superhero?
That's right.
Oh yeah.
I would like Ron Perlman to play all of the superheroes in the same movie.
Right, exactly.
Holy shit, shit.
So I haven't...
That's a lot of jaw mass.
Exactly. So that's as far I've thought as that. We didn't really want to... that was one of the things in character design. We don't really want to use real people as references, I guess. Obviously, you can't help but say, this person's... like you said, jawline, or this person's, nose, or what do you want to say? Yeah, Tom Hopper's great.
So how did you? Seems like you like comics. I'm just gonna pull that out, throw that out there. I get the impression that you like comics. How did you first get involved with comic books?
My dad collected them. My dad, both my parents collect all sorts of stuff. Comics, cards. Advertising type stuff, and it was like that. Pogs. No, I have Pogs somewhere. Pogs and Pokemon cards in storage somewhere. Man, okay. Pogs come back. No, and I've kind of been around comic collecting my entire life for the most part. Writing's a pretty recent development, though. That's the thing. Growing up, I liked making stories and telling stories and things of that nature, because whenever I'd buy a video game, I'd only buy the video games where it would have a create your own character, or RPG create your own level, or create your own team, or maybe that's because I'm possessive, but I like to think it was because I'm creative.
That's right.
We'll go with that.
Right, we'll go with that. So yeah, who doesn't like telling stories? Sitting around telling stories, whether they're true or false, it's that brief separation from reality. I think most of us enjoy, especially as we grow older and time goes on.
Escape back to childhood.
Right. So that's kind of my involvement.
You've got a very sexy bookcase behind you. I want to know, is that the dinosaur's baby?
It is. It's Baby Sinclair.
That's right.
Cute. Oh, baby, gonna love me.
I was about to ask about that. It's such an interesting spread, because you got the dinosaur's baby, you got like all these, you got a pretty good collection of Funko Pops, and then is that Al Gore? Is that a portrait of Al Gore? Or
yes, that's my second cousin Al Gore. No, it's worse than Al Gore. It's Dave Winham. Dave Winham, because that is the boardroom picture from Iron Fist season 1. It's like him, Tom Pelfrey's character, then Danny Rand were up in the boardroom, and then
from the set, like an actual set.
Yeah. That auction, I noticed no one was bidding on the Iron Fist stuff. And if you could see up there, I am the world's only Iron Fist fan. And have my Iron Fist shrine. So if you watch season 2 with that dope ass sash scene where I actually break out the Iron Fist mask, I have the sash.
Season
Man,
2's
you must be the only fan of the Iron Fist Netflix show in the world, because
So I'm an apologist. I'll say that I'm an apologist. Season 2 was much better than season 1. Season 2's Emmy, Oscar winning, whatever, streaming, Webby's winning compared to season 1. The dumpster fire, that was season 1. If you could stick through season 1, season 2 is great.
I didn't make it to season 2, so I guess we all agree on season 1.
Right.
If I could have just brought myself to start season 2, man. Okay.
Right. They actually paid me for this picture. They say, "Hey, Adam, give me the $50 if you'll take this."
We gotta get rid of this shit.
Exactly.
Hey, Adam, who would you cite as your biggest creative influences, given that sexy bookcase behind you? Who do you turn to for creative inspiration?
So as much as I hate using the words grounded and gritty as, in reviews or just in life in general, that's all of the properties I instantly gravitate towards is grounded and gritty stuff. The Frank Millers of the world, probably. As you can tell, I'm not in the book. It's not prose, but I like the narrative structure of stuff that Frank brings to the thing. More recently, Jeff Lemire. Really big fan of Jeff's.
Have you met him?
I've never met him. I've talked to him several times.
Nice.
Always over the phone. So that's kind of a meet. That's a quarantine meet, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, that counts.
Been reading his Bloodshot lately, and it was, man, that really took the character to another level.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
If you are in tune with the Black Hammer universe, Skull Digger's probably the best Black Hammer thing ever written. So Skull Digger and Skeleton Boy, if you want to read comics.
I haven't touched it.
It's good. Oh, just Black Hammer as a whole, or?
Yeah, I haven't touched Black Hammer.
Me neither.
Not out of choice. I just haven't gotten to it yet. I keep hearing great things.
It's just slippery slope, man. It's you read right through the first trade paperback, you'll be in. And again, it's a superhero story, but it's fresh enough.
Is it dark and gritty?
It's very.
Is it
exactly
grounded?
It's dark and gritty, man.
All right. Okay.
So,
Sold.
Nice.
so you got Shit Show, and you got three issues, and you plan for 15. Do you have any other projects that you're doing or have planned that you want to tell us about?
Yeah, I post on Facebook, so it's out there. But the project I am working on now, we're working on the pitch, is Cluster Flock. Is the next follow-up.
I'm sensing a theme.
Yes, yeah. Now I'm all out of ideas after those two.
That's
To be honest.
Well, you can use the word cunt if you pitch it to the UK and Australia, because then it's like a normal cuss word over there. So, yeah.
Right.
But just put a star over the U.
That morphed into something. John Wick is arguably my favorite franchise in the whole world, even over Marvel, DC, anything. It's
John Wick is pure gold. I agree.
It's amazing. Just the world building they did from one movie to two. Yes.
You read this one?
Yes. So John Wick's tops. So Cluster Flock is my homage to the John Wick franchise. I have ran into an issue with Shit Show. If you'll notice how we style it, we use an asterisk in place of the I, which I should have known better because my background's in digital media, and that's very, very bad for search engine optimization and search in general. So to get around having to put an asterisk in cluster, I don't want to drop the F-bomb on your show, cluster...
Fuck.
Blah,
Do
blah,
it.
blah.
We
Okay,
say it all
instead of
the
putting
time.
the asterisk, instead of putting an asterisk in clusterfuck, and
Whoa!
Whoa, shit!
Ladies and gentlemen, we have to end this show
instead
here
of
now.
the U, the idea came up clusterflock. So instead,
Nice.
I changed the story to be set in a world of birds. So everyone's a bird,
Nice.
and it's a clusterfuck with birds and bullets and.
That's
Sounds
awesome.
interesting.
That's awesome.
While you were saying that, I was listening to that, but I was also in my mind trying to think of the third volume, and Dick Dance came to mind. I don't know.
Dictate. Oh,
Dance.
yeah.
What about
Okay.
Snafu?
Yeah. And
I just
and the main villain's a dude named Richard, and then you could just be like, look, this is not Dick. This is
Crossover. We have a crossover built in right there.
there. It is.
Look at that.
There it is.
Nice. Nice.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, NBs, that is our show. Adam Barnhardt, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing
Thank
your stuff
you.
with us.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody, don't forget to wash your hands, wear your mask, and get out there, register to vote. We are out of here. Bye.
And subscribe.
Please like, subscribe, ring the bell, and be free. Follow our links and watch our show because you want to and not because of the threats. Thank you for watching Judah, Robo, and Ree. We talk about comics, movies, and TV. Sometimes we have notable guests and some